The jewfish, or Goliath grouper, have been, for me, a very enigmatic fish. When I first came to the Keys, there were a lot of juvenile babies that grow up in the mangrove shoreline or in the shallow rock piles in the basins and the channels around the Keys. Soon, all the juvenile fish disappeared from that mangrove shoreline, and when you start losing those subadult fish, you know that there's something wrong with the adult brood stock, the adults that made those babies. This is as pretty as the great big ones. What happens with the Goliath grouper is that it takes them about 10 years to get to a size where they can spawn. You couple that with the fact that those groupers tended to gravitate towards any kind of structure, whether they were rock piles or ledges or wrecks. They would aggregate in large numbers around these particular structures. And a typical spawning aggregation of these Goliath was 100 to 200 fish. So all of a sudden, these fish became a very easily targeted, viable commercial fish. So a lot of the commercial boats would go out and spearfish for these, great big creatures, and they fill the decks with them. You get one of those boats on one day, and you see the pile of fish that they bring in, and it wasn't too long before the population started dwindling to the point where they passed some regulations that made it prohibitive to even catch one, to keep one. So for me, the evolution of it was, here was the baby juveniles that as soon as the commercial fishing started for them, they disappeared. They were gone. The regulations came in, and all of a sudden the population started growing to the point where now those juveniles are back in those mangrove shorelines. So it's good to see that there's a success story for those fish coming back. Nature does replenish itself.
Vida Del Mar is brought to you by the Florida Keys and Key West. Come as you are.